If you wish to make an apple pie from scratch, you must first invent the universe. Carl Sagan.
Who knew inventing the universe was gonna be so hard? God damn!
Hiya! February has come and gone, so I bring forth yet another fashionably late video to mark my progress. You can tell that this is a real documentation of my journey because I have absolutely no sense of pacing. Going from a very reasonably scoped game to dragging myself through the torment that has been making this game would be something that any proper storyteller would place months apart. As for how exactly this was torment, well, in my infinite wisdom, I picked a project that is larger in scope than my previous works, is in a genre that I haven't programmed for before, and I did all of this during the shortest month of the year. While I would love to regale you with tales of how I managed to persevere against all odds, the truth is that the scope came back to bite me. 2 months in, and I'm already reevaluating my New Year's resolution. Not like I'm giving up, mind you. I'm seeing this through and pressing on towards the next project. But in the meantime, I can at least update you on how it's going. I probably should have seen this coming, given that I already felt like I was in over my head on day 1 of working on this project. I made the layout for the main menu in a single day, and half of the buttons work. I got lost on where to go next, so I realized I needed a plan for a project this large. So I wanted a player to move around a space, but first I needed a space for the player to move around in, and then when I was making the space, I needed to start by making the space save loadable so that I could have the game be saved and loaded, which meant that I needed to really start in figuring out the save load system, which was entirely uninteresting, so I won't be talking about it. Now that I have a space, I started to add a basic player, as well as some objects for them to interact with. Problem is, before I can implement each object type's interaction, I realized that I would need the player to path towards the object, so I got a bit distracted figuring out pathing. Perfect! Now that items can be picked up, I'm actually going to breeze over working on the inventory system a bit, because despite how much work it was, it's not particularly flashy, just an absolute nightmare of scripting that I probably could have kept under wraps a little better. Or at least I was going to breeze over it, but check out this funny bug that happened during the process. So, in continuing to work on the inventory system, I lost 3 days to a Minecraft-induced stupor making a mod pack for my friends. If I wasn't already diagnosed, the concerning amount of focus I put into polishing these damn things would be worth an autism evaluation on their own. Back to work. The next exciting thing I did after finishing up the inventory system was adding the harvesting system. Check it out! You can chop the tree and the wood scatters everywhere. Although seeing this made me realize that I should probably add shadows to dropped items that kind of blend in with the terrain a little bit. It was at this point that I realized how screwed I was. It was day 20 out of 28, and I've only gotten this much done. Sure, I can only hope that the rest of the game will build itself once I have the underlying systems in place, but there's really no guarantee. Despite my worries, I found entities surprisingly easy to implement. Maybe it's because I made them kinda stupid, maybe it's because I had practice with pathing due to the player's auto-pathing that I set up, or maybe I'm just goated. Probably some combination of the 3 if I had to guess. And then, well, it sounds too defeatist to say that I threw in the towel. It's more like I realized that I need to take care of myself. And sometimes, taking care of myself means knowing that I'll need to sacrifice my arbitrary goals in order to make something that I'm proud of. Once I got to the point where I was frantically looking for ways to cut corners, I knew that I had to extend this game's development time. And there you have it. Expect to see signs of Escape from Burger Island in March. Honestly, it's probably for the better that I don't complete this too fast. I'm surprisingly resistant to coming up with ideas. That being said, I certainly have a few that I'm excited about in the hopper, but I'm hesitant to spoil the surprises for now. And now, for the things that I learned this month. Aside from the new Godot systems that I am now used to, such as tile maps, pathing through tile maps, as well as the save load system, there are a couple more underlying concepts that I am now a little more familiar with. One such concept is the utilization of component-based structures. All clickable objects in the world have an interactable component, and the internal logic of items are also components. I probably should have used an inventory component for both the player as well as the structures containing their own inventories, but I didn't think of that idea until it was too late to refactor it, and now I have a bunch of reusable code sitting around. Speaking of things that I've learned, I found out that I was implementing the things that I'd learned last month even faster. The learning of saving and loading levels was expedited of my knowledge of saving and loading the config file, for instance. Setting up the menu was also a breeze. While it is a shame that I couldn't get the game out this month like I wanted to, at least the only person I'm disappointing with this is myself. I don't really have much more to share, I suppose, so I'll see you next month with hopefully a completed game. Good night.